Today, Bandai hit us with one of the most crazy new leaders we've seen in a minute. The price of this secret rare shot to the moon, and one of the most overdue reprints that we've had in a long time. Starting with the new leaders, Bandai has given us the first few reveals out of OP11. Pretty crazy, don't think we've even had EBO2 finish yet. It's certainly not come out, but here we are. OP11 is getting revealed for some reason. And this guy is the guy that everybody is talking about. This is a crazy leader, quite similar to Red Purple Luffy, and the reason is simple. It's Luffy, he's got 6,000 power, and he's got 3 life. So what does he say? He says, at the start of your turn, you can activate this effect. If you have 8 or more Don cards on your field, look at the top 5 of your deck, reveal a Straw Hat Crew card, and add it to your hand. Then, you rearrange the rest in any order you like, and place them on the top or the bottom. So initially this was mistranslated as just bottom, it is top or bottom. So this is very particular, this has to be the first thing that you do on your turn. So after your opponent says pass, the first thing you must do, if you can, is activate your Luffy's effect. This is before the refresh phase, before the draw phase, and before the Don phase. If you start standing up your characters, you start drawing Dons, you've missed the timing and your opponent can shark you on that. So please be careful when you're playing this leader. I guarantee you I'm going to make a mistake, you're going to make the mistake, everyone's going to make the mistake once, but you'll never do it again once someone sharks you on it. Either way, so because you have to do this first, this means that this 8 or more Don isn't strict really, it doesn't mean you can use this on your 8 Don turn. The first turn you can do this is your 10 Don turn, because you're going to have 8 or more, and then you're going to draw up to 10. So this is first active at 10 Don, don't be fooled. But this is a crazy effect. Getting to look at the top 5, there's so many good Straw Hat Crew cards, and the number one that everyone's been on their mind is this Sanji. But don't forget, this can search Gum Gum Giant, we are purple, we get to use this broken ass card, and we can also grab Red Rock. This is the first deck ever, possibly, that's had searchable Red Rock, and this is consistent search. This is just drawing an extra card per turn when you get to 10 Don. Really crazy, you're going to have so many resources, and I think this effect is sick. I think this effect is really cool. There's going to be a ton of great combos, even without whatever the hell's going to come out of OP11. So, how does it exactly going to interact, this combo? So, you're going to look at the top 5, let's say this is the 5 cards you see. You can take the Sanji, that's off the leader effect, and for turn, you're going to draw the Usohachi, and then these are the top 3 of your deck. So, for example, if you were going to do Sanji into Luffy, you can Sanji, flip the Luffy, play it, then use the Luffy's effect, and then you'll draw the Gum Gum Giant. So, in that way, for 1 card and 9 Don, you've drawn 4 cards, which is insane. Because this is just your freebie from your leader effect, your draw for turn, your draw off Luffy, and this is just coming into play from Sanji. Crazy. 9 Don, you get a 9-9, a 9-10, rush, an extra draw. It's popping off, and then if these were the 5, you can set up your next Sanji for next turn. What a time to be alive. So just bear in mind, when you're doing this, you need to remember, your first ones you take, your second ones you draw, and then the third one is the card that's going to be on the top of your deck. So what combos can we do? These were some combos that have been pointed out by people already on X. Sanji into Lin Lin, it's a classic, really good combo. You get 2 9-9s, you get a heal, you get rid of one of your opponent's 6 or lesses. Nice defensive play, whilst establishing ridiculous board. Nothing's removing both of these. Even a Lucci deck that's high rolling the hell out of you isn't going to be removing both of these. So you're going to get a guaranteed body, which is sick. And the epic combo you can do, if you're so lucky enough to hit it in the top 5, of course, you can stack your life. If you see a Pilaf, you see a Red Rock in the top 5, like we said on the last slide, you can do the take, you can take the Sanji, draw the Usohachi, play out the Lin Lin in this case, and then this next card, instead of being a Gum Gum Giant, you might put something like a Pilaf, and then that Pilaf will go on top of your life. Now when your opponent attacks into you, you draw 2. And the same with Red Rock. If you don't need to particularly Red Rock anything that's massive, say you're against a Dofi deck, this is really good into them. You heal, you remove one of their bodies, put the Red Rock on top of your life, and then you bot deck one of their other bodies when they attack you. Seems nuts to me. We've already gone over this one, Sanji into Luffy, and I do think this is going to be the best combo for the deck. Just drawing 4 cards is ridiculous, and this has Rush. What a joke. This is going to be crazy. And I've put here you can stack your draw. Another combo that people have pointed out, I don't think this one's going to be as good. I think if you're playing this sort of engine, you're better off with Mono Purple Luffy. I think he just does this a little bit more reliably. But you could do Sanji into Luffy Taro play out the Zorojuro, and you can guarantee that you're going to hit something good with Zorojuro, because you've seen 3 of the cards. I don't think this is the craziest combo, but it's something. There's something to be said for it, right? Spamming out 3 dudes is really good. But what if you wanted to spam out 3 dudes, but you wanted to do it in an overly convoluted way? Well, can I introduce you to Don Quixote Doflamingo? I don't think this is going to be necessarily good, but I think there's something here. I think it's interesting. First thing to note is the Sugar Searcher, the 1-cost Sugar, is a tap searcher, which is really nice for us as a 3-life leader. Going to take a bit of aggression out of our face in that early game, especially if we, for example, go second. On a turn where your opponent would often have to go 8 at face, or they might choose to go 8 at face, should I say, they might instead be forced to attack into the Sugar, lest you just get infinite value out of your Searcher. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, you can do Sanji into Doflamingo. You got to hit it, of course, but, you know, it is what it is. And then on play, you can play out a 5-cost Doflamingo character, similar to the Luffy Taro. You could play out either Senor Pink or Rosante. And then when your opponent attacks, you can rest 1 Don to ramp a Don back. And that's something really important I'm going to get onto in a minute. Is all of these effects are Don -1. So if you're at 10, you do Don -1, you're at 9. If you play Gum Gum Giant, you go back to 7. And then your leader effect does not proc on the next turn, which is quite bad. It sort of limits when you can do Gum Gum Giant, which I think is obviously not ideal for this deck. I want to be doing Gum Gum Giant like all the time, whenever I can. So I think this is one way you can get around it. Having this ramp back in your opponent's turn is pretty cool. And the card that's going to help you with that is the Rosnante. On play, you can trash an event to draw 2. So say you've got a spare Red Rock in your hand, I don't know, you've got a spare Pilaf that you're not using, you can just trash that and draw 2. And worst case, I mean, say you've got like 3 Gum Gum Giants and you don't think you need them. It's just a really nice bit of extra draw, and you even know what you're going to draw into, right? Because this is the Doflamingo in this example, so you know what these 2 cards are, so you can work out whether or not trashing that event to draw those 2 is worth it or not, which is pretty cool. And then at the end of your turn, you get to stand 2 of your Don back up, which is just epic. And then with that re-stood up Don, you can either do a Gum Gum Giant, or you can do this. Or you can even do both, right? So if you play out this on 10, you go back to 9 with the Don Quixote Doflamingo effect, you restand 2, say you use your last Don for a leader swing or a search or whatever. You restand 2, so you're at 9 with 2 stood up, your opponent's going to attack into you. You can do this effect to go tap 1 and ramp back up to 10. Then you can use Gum Gum Giant. And then you're still at 8 and you're going to get your leader effect and you're going to draw to 10. So I think this is one way that you can mitigate that massive downside of effect -1 plus Gum Gum Giant setting you before this. You also gain access to Senor Pink if you're playing this package, which is a crazy card that just says Don -1, get Gum Gum Giant, and then stand up a Don. I think this is pretty cool. I think I've not cracked a list yet for this, I'm going to be honest. I worked on it a little bit while I was chilling at work, not doing too much. But I've not cracked this yet, but I really do think there's something there. And if you've got a list you want to share with me, please let me know. I'm thrilled by this package. I think it's really cool. And I've not actually seen that many people talking about this in particular. So here's some other cards you can play out. You can play out Kid. Kid is classic in these purple decks with 6,000 life. 6,000 power, excuse me. 6,000 life, what a time that would be. But yeah, it's really good in Doflamingo, and that's kind of the main reason you play it a lot of the time. Just constantly making you 7,000 is crazy. Into those decks like Doflamingo, and I guess like Zoro, that are lower power units, just trying to hit you with 5s and 6s. Kaido is another option. I'm not sure this would be very good in this deck, but it's probably the next best 9 cost we've got of what's currently revealed. So here's a list I've cooked up. This is a very early doors list, please note. This is not the Doflamingo build, this is just a basic Straw Hat build. Going to be much easier to build a deck like that. The Doflamingo is going to need cooking. But, I mean, you get access to Lore, which is a great searcher. Unfortunately, not Straw Hat himself, but it is what it is. If we get a blue Straw Hat searcher, that will immediately mog the Lore, because the Lore can't even get a Gum Gum Giant. But it can get Red Rock, which is pretty cool. I've got 3 of the Kid. I do think that Doflamingo matchup is probably going to be one of the tougher ones with this matchup, with this deck. Excuse me. And I think the 7-cost Kid will help that a little bit. Got 2 Sanji. I think he's pretty good for some rush and rest of blocker. But do note you can't play him off blue Sanji, because they're both called Sanji. And sort of the tech that I think is going to be mandatory in this deck, if you're not playing that Doflamingo garbage that I'm peddling, is 5-cost Kid. Or 3-cost Pudding, by extension. They are the same effect. Kid, I think, is just generally a bit better. But this stops you going back to 9 Don, and then 7 with Giant, because you're going to have, if you've got Kid on the board, when you do your Luffy, you go back to 9, then you ramp back to 10 with Kid, you get a free active Don for what it's worth. But I think the biggest thing is that you're going to be at 10, so after Giant, you're at 8. And I do think that is going to be one of the biggest downsides of this deck compared to Red Purple, because Red Purple just gets that Don back for free. And he's also just less limited on when he can use his leader effect, of course. But yeah, I think the Kid is going to be very important. It's going to be so important to establish this. Excuse me, you could even consider adding Pudding as well. But either way, that's the list. If you try it out, let me know. And I think I am going to have a video of some gameplay of this leader quite soon. I'm planning on jumping ahead a little bit to try out some of these new cards. I'm really excited to see how they go. So stay tuned for that. Next up, we had Jinbe. He is a Straw Hat crew and a Fishman. Not a new Fishman Pirates, bear in mind. There's some cards that interact specifically with that, so you can't use that. But he's a 5-life green leader. End of your turn, if you have 6 cards or less in your hand, you restand one of your Fishman or Merfolk characters and a Don. So let's tackle the Don first. There's not many good green counter events, I'm not going to lie. This is about the best one. The Billion-fold World Trichiliacosm. Say that 10 times fast. This is decent. It's like a scuffed Rad Beam. You've got to have 8 or more rested cards. It includes Don though, so there's that at least. I think this is about the best we've got at the minute, but I'm hopeful that we get something better in OP11 for Jinbe. In terms of Merfolk and Fishmen, well, you've got Kami, she's your searcher. We're going to have a Market Watch section at the end of this. All of this, I think, is one to watch. I think it is one to watch. Everyone knows the best Fishman out there is Hody Jones. He's just so good. You know what he does. Resanding him to protect him seems pretty strong to me. Arlong is a bit of a low-key one. Not sure restanding him gains that much value. But don't forget about this effect. If we have a good Fishman leader with some more Fishman cards coming out, this is strong. So denying a rested leader from attacking is obviously good. You're getting out of a hit, but you're getting out some really important leader effects. Lucci can't give -1. Doflamingo can't play out a dude. Gecko Moria can't resummon a dude. And there's other leaders, right, that have good when attackings. So don't sleep on this 4-cost Arlong. It's genuinely a really good card. It's only not seeing any play at the moment because Fishman leaders suck. And in general, green sucks outside of Bonnie. And you're not playing this in Bonnie. 2 other cards that I think are actually quite good cards, but just haven't seen any play for obvious reasons, are Fisher Tiger. He's a 5/6/1k. He can attack characters on the turn that he's played, similar to the Corridor Coliseum Stadium. And on play, if your leader has the Fishman type, which we do, you can rest a 6-cost or lower character. So this is quite nice. You maybe get rid of a blocker, maybe get some cards out of your opponent's hand attacking into a dude. It's not the craziest card in the world, but I do think this will probably end up in the deck in some capacity, assuming we don't get just some crazy cards. Another good one that particularly interacts with this is Aladdin. He's a blocker, which is why he interacts with this well. You can restand your Fishman blocker, and he's probably about the best blocker we have in Fishman at the minute. Hopefully we get something better. I would really love something like Fisher Tiger if he had blocker. I think would be really cool. But at the moment, just a nod to Aladdin. He's about the best blocker that we have. So last of the new leaders revealed was Shirahoshi. She is a 5 life green-yellow leader with 5,000 power. This leader cannot attack, which is unfortunate. However, you can activate main once per turn, you can rest one of your Don, flip the top card of your life face up, 2 different conditions you have to meet, then you can play a character card with the Sea King type, or a Mega Low character, with a cost equal to or less than the number of Don on your board. This is kind of like the bastard son of Vegapunk and Calgara, and you have to flip your life. So playing out like a 6, 7, 8 cost for 1 seems good, but we don't have any Sea Kings, we don't have any Megalos. This is 100% going to just depend on how good the Sea Kings and the Megalos are. I've not got much to say on this leader at the moment. The last card that got revealed was actually the first card that got revealed. I posted about this last night before I went to bed and then woke up to 1,000 leaders. This is Zeus. I promise you it's not Nami, despite what the government's telling you, this is Zeus. And this is a 2k, 2 cost, 2,000 power, 2k counter, on play. You may add 1 card from the top and bottom of your life to your hand, KO a 5 or less. This is bananas, this is just ridiculous power creep. Like, Flompe takes a life and draws a card. This takes a life and kills a 5. This is instantly gonna go in Luffy, Black Yellow Luffy, massive buff to that deck. As much as I despise this leader with every ounce of my being, he is yet again getting buffed. I think this might get to the point where Bandai needs to do something about him. He's been winning everything for quite a long time now. And this is a massive buff. This is crazy. You also have a slight buff to Katakuri, I guess. It's not the craziest, but it is a Big Mum Pirates 2k. So you can search this in that. I'm not so sure about that. But there's also a massive buff to Enel as well. Enel loves taking his own life, and to be able to take your own life and kill a 5, like, you need to play way less of your KO dudes now. You might be down to like 4 of any combination of Nami to Gadatsu now, which is pretty wild to think about. That deck was on like 11, 12, and now your 2k just kind of does it for you, so you might be able to inch into that a bit to make room for your 10 cost Enels. What a time to be alive. This is wild. And this was just revealed randomly as part of a playmat bundle on Premium Bandai. But yeah, I'm slightly concerned about this card. I'm concerned it's going to make BY Luffy just even stronger. And a format defined by Enel and BY Luffy doesn't sound the most gripping. Hopefully Purple Blue Luffy can save the day. But either way, moving on, after all those reveals, we had this, which is genuinely quite interesting. These are cards that are going to be given out in Japan for free with qualifying purchases. And they also have alt arts, as you can see here, or more accurately, extended arts. So I don't know how these are coming to the West. I believe we've already had this Perona as a top player promo. And this Black Maria, I believe, is in a target box, which is odd. But yeah, this is the 2k Black Maria that ramps 5 Don. You've got EBO1 Chopper Blocker. The main attraction, EBO1 Brook, finally getting a reprint. This card was ridiculously expensive. Getting a reprint of this is brilliant. And also this alt art just looks kind of sick. I might even prefer this to the original one. It's a close thing. Yeah, you've got 1 cost Perona, the stacker from 01. You've got a Rouge, I don't think anyone really was calling for this. We've got the 1 cost Nami that just came out. You've got another alt art for this if you don't like the first one. And this is Nico Olvia. Again, I don't think anyone was asking for this. But we got it anyway. And the main attraction here, let's not beat around the bush, is Brook. This guy's what, like $35? It's ridiculous. So this, hopefully, we get this sooner than later. But yeah, if you're going to buy Brooks, maybe reconsider your position. And last up, we have this Luffy. This is going to be distributed in set 11. We don't know exactly how. Could be an SP. I think more likely a similar rarity to the Oda signed card that we had in 05. And they're going to be doing something like this for set 12, 13, and 14. We don't know exactly what. Could be the other Emperors. Could be just more Luffys. Who's to say? But yeah, these cards look pretty clean. Just 3 cards I want to talk about the price today of. First up, as predictably, is Sanji. I am on card market this time. If you're in America, this is even worse for you, I'm afraid. So as you can see here, price of Sanji's been like £6-7 for a long time. And yeah, now the cheapest is 17. And there's only a few at that price. This is sort of around £20, which is like $25, $26. And the price is even worse in the States. Don't buy this now. This is not a good buy at the minute. This is way overpriced. Be careful. You can get some deals on eBay. I picked up one this morning for a tenner, £10 on eBay, which is significantly better than 17 and even better than 20. So I think that's pretty reasonable. This isn't going to go back to £6, but there's no way this holds at 17 to 20. This will drop down again. And if you look at the alt, this is doing the same thing. This guy's up to £30. This was like 15, 16 for a long ass time. Doubled overnight because of the hype. Don't buy into this. This is not a £30 alt. This will drop back down. Just be patient. But if you are impatient, make sure you check eBay first and your locals. So the next card I want to talk about, which I've not seen as much chatter about, but the price is also rising, is Kami. I think Kami is going to be potentially very strong. Once we get the Jinbe cards, we'll obviously know more. But this is your searcher for your fishmen and your merfolk. This has the potential to be a lot more expensive than it is now. Again, I think this will drop back down to around these 4 or 5 prices. But if you can get this for like £5 or $6, $7, I think it's a very reasonable purchase at that price. This one hasn't quite shot up yet. Last up, I do want to talk about Arlong. This guy has been on the rise a little bit lately because of the Arlong reveals. And I'm not confident that this will see play in Jinbe. But it might. And if you're a big fan of this card, you could consider picking up the alts. There's a rare version that's pennies. It was reprinted in PRB. And that's where this alt comes from. But yeah, if you can pick this up for around £7, I don't think that's unreasonable. It was already sort of at that price, and it's not really risen much with the latest updates. But I do think this could be a very strong card in Jinbe. So it's another one that you could consider. So that was it, just a short video today. I was going to have the day off, but we had all these reveals. I've rushed home from work to make this. Pass on my thoughts about this blue-purple Luffy. I'm really excited for this guy. And I hope you are too, because he looks so fun. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think I'm tripping on 5-cost Kid being super mandatory. Let me know your thoughts on my spicy Doflamingo build. As soon as I've got a list I'm happy with, I'll ship it out to you. And yeah, make sure you subscribe for some blue-purple Luffy gameplay coming sooner than you'd think.